We're now turning to another case of allophony and also neutralization this time. So remember that vowels are schwa in stressless position. So we talked about the contrast between Canada, which has a full vowel in the first syllable, and then schwas in the second two, Canada, versus Canadian, where the stress shifts onto the second syllable, and the first syllable now has the schwa, Canadian. You can see the similar sort of thing in the contrast between atom, which has an a in the first syllable, and atomic, which has the schwa in the first syllable. So there's allophony here because the schwa is an allophone of every vowel in English. That is, it's the allophone that appears in stressless position. And there's neutralization here in the sense that the contrasts between all of the vowels are neutralized in the stressless syllables. They all become schwa. We'll now turn to another case in which the pronunciation of the vowels is conditioned by a following consonant, and that's when the following consonant is the liquid lateral la. So compare your pronunciation of heed and heel, paid and pale, pad and pal. Now, especially in the first two and sometimes in the last, you'll probably find that there's a diphthongal pronunciation, so a change in the vowel up to the consonant, with this last part of it being something like so you'd have something like peel, pale, or maybe even pal. The vowels are retracting, are going backwards. So these are front vowels, and they're becoming more back before the la, which is realized as a velarized consonant, as you know, in this position. So it's velarized, the tongue is being pulled back, and it's pulling the vowels back as well. The back vowels are generally less affected by the final velarized L because they already have a tongue position similar to that of the velarized L. But there is often a big difference in quality between the vowels in ho and hole. Some speakers have a similar rule with ra, but so you might have something like hole instead of hole. And similarly, here or there, as opposed to here, there, where again there's a schwa in between. Before ra, there's also neutralization in every variety, and then there's a lot of there's a lot of variation across varieties as well. So for most, probably all varieties of North American English, before ra, there is just one vowel for each of e and a. There isn't a tense lax contrast. So you get here and hair, but nothing in between the two. So no I, and there's no e. It's actually something between the tense and the lax vowel. There's a lot of variation across North American varieties, and this is really nicely documented by Rick Ashman. You might recall from the beginning of the course, we looked at his map of North American English, and he has a section on R between vowels, and so different varieties have different sets of sounds, and he says to color or not to color because we call it these R-colored vowels. And a famous contrast is between the three of Mary, Mary, and Mary. And for me and many other speakers, there's just one Mary, but for others, there's something like Mary for the person's name, and then a distinction also between Mary and, I can't even do this one.
Mary dear, make me merry and say you'll marry me this year. Mary dear, make me merry and say you'll marry me this year.